Good afternoon, YouTube. It's Lime, here to draw you my life. I apologize in advance for the terrible drawing. Anyway, I was born in Longueuil, Quebec, July 12, 1992. Beautiful Sunday. If you don't know where Longueuil is, well, here's Montreal, here's Laval. It's right there. I lived an hour away in Saint Denis City Chaudière. In other words, my poor, poor mother. So yeah, I was born then. Here's me with a massive lime head. I had a father. Let's call him Mr. Banana. Father Banana. And my mother, who was short and sweet, so Mother Strawberry. I also had a brother who was 1 year older than me. And, well, let's call him Kiwi. Moving on, well, my birth caused a lot of financial problems for my parents, who did not have a stable job. So we got poor, simply put. So I was born in a poor family, more or less. Father Banana, well, it turns out he was actually bananas. He was paranoid schizophrenic, always wanted to put bars on the windows, and he kept mentioning that verse in the Bible about chopping up my mom. My mom, a bit freaked out about this. Well, she called it quits, said the love was over, she cried a lot, and a divorce happened. Good riddance, technically. That wasn't over with Father Banana. They had a bit of a, custody problems. I had to go to his place all the time, and I cried every time I had to go because I really didn't like him. He gave me the creeps. Anyway, it was a custody battle. I don't remember it. My brother apparently had to stand up in court. The judge judged that, well, Father Banana was crazy, and we ended up at our mom. My mom shortly remarried to Coconut Dad, who brought along with him 2 kids, Nubro Pineapple and Sister Plum, who were both older than me. I was initially confused at this new development, but I eventually really loved my new dad and siblings. Before I knew it, I was 5 years old, which meant going to elementary school here, kindergarten, in an ugly-ass minibus because I lived in the middle of nowhere. Now, they sent me to English school, which at first confused me because I only spoke French, but hey, I got to learn English. At this point, I was actually really, really happy. New siblings, new dad, going to school, it was the best. But bullying started. Honestly, as a short, fat kid who liked to read Harry Potter, I didn't stand a chance. So let's say Mr. Raspberry here was my favorite bully, who was actually always made fun of me for being a nerd. Eventually, I figured out that people fear fire, and I love fire. So I brought a lot of smoke bombs and stuff like that, and I managed to scare away the bullies with blowtorches and cans. Nobody believed that it was going to be the short, nerdy kid that was going to bring a blowtorch to school. Before I knew it, high school started, and my head had grown massive. I was a religious nut that kept telling people that they were going to burn in hell, and me associating with them would also make them burn in hell, which meant I had no friends, which I didn't like. But there was this one exception. Enter Mademoiselle Lorange, a good friend of mine, who's actually still my best friend. She said that she'd give me a chance at being my friend, and, well, she didn't know it, but I was completely in love with her. Well, I ended up kissing a lot of girls to make her jealous, and, well, she called me a douche for all that. Rightly so. At this point, I realized that maybe people were right about calling me an asshole. Enter Lime 2.0. I was in my best behavior for the last 2 years of high school, but since I was a complete bellend for 3 years prior, I didn't get much of an upgrade, but I did become a creepy kid who's annoying at best instead of straight up asshole. Still had no friends, because, well, reputation was shot, as I said. On the happiness scale, things had pretty much stabilized, but things were going down, mostly because of depression for absolutely no reason. Well, what about the love life, you think? Well, you'd be surprised to hear that for the first time ever, girls actually liked me, probably because of my massive biceps, yeah. But I was a bit weird about it because they didn't understand. Anyway, there was this one girl, Blue Rose. We got together. I felt wanted for one of the first times in my life, and boy did I feel good. We graduated, went to prom together, everything was lovey-dovey. But I had a big overriding problem. What was I going to do after high school? I had no idea what to specialize in college. So I had a huge idea. I was just going to do everything in college. And that's exactly what I proceeded to do. I liked psychology, photo, and science, so I took psychology, photo, and science, but I had a much bigger problem. My girlfriend was getting religious. Now what? Despite my awesome education and my much better social life in clubs and all that, I got really, really sad because I took my girlfriend as more important. Shortly after becoming more religious, she told me that we could no longer have sex, according to the Bible and her wacky religion that I used to be part of. At first I was incredibly angry, I just couldn't believe it, but eventually I became sad and compassionate. There is no face for sad and compassionate. Our compromise? Wait until marriage or until she changed her mind. Which, in short, is a terrible idea. Now, I had just finished college with a degree in science of all things, and I still had a big problem. I still didn't know what to do, so I followed the old rule and did everything. I did some radio, I even became a private chauffeur at one point, I worked in a morgue for a couple of weeks, which was really, really fun and interesting, and I even did construction of all things, which most people would never ever see me in, thanks to my nerdy nature. But this was nothing compared to when I finally discovered my true love, video games, and started to work in the video game industry as a QA manager. I really fell in love with it, especially the manager part, and decided to turn it into a career. But what about the love life? I had been sentenced for 4 years now with Blue Rose, and she was getting even more religious, saying that she couldn't stay with me because I wasn't religious enough. We started having pretty intense debates about evolution, women's rights, queer rights, things I was very vocal about, but she said it was all terrible and, well, it didn't end well. I fell into the biggest depression of my life, and I do mean huge depression. It was cavernous depression. And I have to admit that, well, university helped. I was having fun in history and in business, two things I absolutely love. I met up with the nerd fighters, and things were kind of looking up, but I was still having trouble. Meanwhile, my love life led me to drink excessively, and I swear I was drunk for an entire month. At first I was confused as what to think, then accepting, and then I realized I didn't need a life to be happy, and that really helped me recover. I was happy to see that on the happiness chart I was going back up and rather quickly. And what of love? Well, maybe I found somebody better, maybe much better than Blue Rose. So that was my entire life, really, really quickly up to now. And I wanted to say I wrote this entire thing with my offhand. Why, you ask? The better question would be, why not? Here's Faye with my actual dominant hand. I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless, and I'll see you guys next time.